Coffee and Chaos. We have a special guest today. Hi, Raymond.
Hi,
How are
doing?
you?
I'm doing just fine.
Are
Normal
you?
Sunday afternoon, or what is it, morning, afternoon?
It's morning. It's cold. Hi, Solomon.
I was gonna
I was
say,
gonna forget
you
that. Hi, Solomon.
You went right to, we got a special guest.
Yeah. So I'm your host, Alina, and this is Coffee and Chaos. And we have Solomon, our producer, and Raymond, our guest today. And it is early afternoon, but it is cold for California.
It is cold.
I walked out and was like, why didn't I bring a sweater or a jacket? But I think when you walk out, it's California.
Yeah, you just never know what to expect.
I just thought I wouldn't eat. Now I'm like, oh. So today for those of you that pay attention, I'm leaving my socks on.
We're doing this in the morning. There's still fog outside right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to bring a blanket next time and just sit on this chair and be all comfortable.
Then she'd never leave.
Oh, man.
So it is 2024. The end. New Year's is in 2 days.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It felt like this year just kind of just flew by.
It did.
It did. It's like, did we even have Easter? Like, I started to think about it the other day. I'm like, when did Easter happen? Like, that's how fast it went. Like, I don't even remember. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I will say this. The day after Christmas, I had to run to the store for something. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, Valentine's stuff was already up.
Yeah.
And I said, did the little elves come in the middle of the night and get rid of all the Christmas stuff and already go into like Valentine's Day? I was like, what the hell? Like,
yes,
it just happened so quickly.
I feel like everybody's in such a rush and they push and they push and they push and let's go, go, go. And I'm like, can we still stop and celebrate what we just did yesterday? New Year's is still coming, you know. Right. Let's say goodbye to 2024. You're already pushing in 2025.
That's how it was for Halloween. Like, I went to go and get some stuff for Halloween, and then there's a video I did where I just turned my back and it was all Christmas stuff. I'm like, dude, we haven't even cut the turkey yet. Like, come on.
Well, I have a question. The turkey, you brought that up for Thanksgiving. That's like the traditional thing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not doing turkey next year.
No.
Nobody eats the turkey, really.
You know, I do it, and I don't mind doing it. But there are some times, like this past year, I'm like, do we really want to do this? Like, I thought about doing like birria or pozole, or like something like that. Like, I'm Mexican. That's just the inner Mexican in me, though.
But turkey's the traditional Caucasian thing, right? Which I realized we shouldn't even be doing it the whole reason of Thanksgiving, right? Mm-hmm. So I was told the kids next year I'm either doing a very small one because my mom makes a big one. And a lot of it goes to waste because nobody really, there's small portion that they eat. So I said, we're doing a small one and we're making something else next year for them.
You know, you could do honey baked ham and just get it in slices.
Well, we do ham and the ham goes pretty quick.
I mean, they do turkey as well, though. That's my point. And you can get it in slices.
It's a smaller turkey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey mole would be good. I thought about that. See.
My mom makes good mole. I'm going to tell her that. We're making mole next year with turkey. She's going to be like, did you get that off TikTok? What?
Like, no, I got that from the Bad Mexican in Wilmington.
So since you said that Raymond's from Wilmington, California.
Born and raised. Family's been there since 1937, I believe. So we're one of the older.
One of the OGs.
Yeah, one of the OGs.
Nice. And Wilmington and Pedro are so connected.
Yeah, we are.
Whether we like it or not, we are connected. Families are connected. Friends are connected. They're two cities that are right next to each other, and it just is what it is.
Are you still in Wilmington?
Yes, I am.
Have you been to the new waterfront?
Oh, yeah, I have. I love it down there.
I do, too. I followed the whole build on that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice down there. I like how they kind of like redeveloped that whole area, and then they got that swing. They have like a swing like at the waterfront.
Yeah, we can't get Alina to go. Something with Wilmington. I don't know.
Have you been there or no? No?
I'm a Pedro girl. I'm not a Weemeta.
Oh,
even though
we're all talking about bringing people together. It's like, I don't come down the hill.
Wow.
You know, and that's funny too, because people in Pedro, and this is no offense to anybody.
But here we go.
Hey, you know what? Since we're taking shots. But it's funny because most of my friends in Pedro, when I tell them that, there's this restaurant and blah, 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 like it's in Torrance or it's in Long Beach. You mean I got to go all the way over there? I'm like, why do you say it like it's like far and beyond, dude? Like, dude, there's life beyond the Vincent Thomas Bridge, brother. Come on.
Is there?
Yeah, there is.
We've had whole topics of this. Solomon gets frustrated with us.
This is one thing I do get mad at her about. They never want to leave San Pedro.
Wilmington people have to leave Wilmington because, and I'm going to get so much shit because I have so much family and so many amazing friends from Wilmington. So as you guys are watching, remember, all jokes.
It's all jokes.
But you guys don't have shit in Wilmington. You have to leave Wilmington. We have everything in Pedro. We don't have to leave Pedro.
But that's sort of true.
Everything is
wow, this is a heated debate. We just started.
And not only that, half of you guys moved to Pedro. And don't tell me no, because I will name some cousins and name drops and they will kill me that all live in Pedro, but want to claim Weemos all day long.
I think I love being in between both. But you are right. There's, just times where you just want to branch out. But
we don't know how.
Yeah, that's
the only thing we're missing.
There's too many damn people. That's what it is. There's too many damn people.
There is too many people in Pedro. Half of you need to leave. If you're not third generation here, you need to move out. Like I say that and people get so offended, but I'm like, go. And my biggest thing I hate is when people say, "Oh, I'm from Pedro." No, you're not. You live in Pedro. You're not from Pedro. There's a difference. And if your grandparents or your great grandparents were from here, you can go to Wilmington or Torrance or Harbor City and we won't miss you. Goodbye. Go. Wow. The only thing Pedro needs is like a Cane's or a Chick-fil-A, and then nobody would ever leave.
Yeah, that's true.
And we have so many mom and pop. Well, Wilmington has a lot of mom and pop places too, though.
Yeah, we do.
We have a lot of mom and pop places and a lot more that are up and coming, which we love. So like my daughter did a lot of her Christmas shopping, her and Jackie, in the mom and pop places.
That's cool.
Yeah. No, a lot of our gifts were, what is it called? Small businesses. Like what is,
Small Business Saturday type stuff?
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. They bought me this, it's like a wreath and you could have it all year long. And it was black and it has like the Mardi Gras ribbons all up in it, all the pretty colors. Excuse me. And in the middle is the El Dia de Muerte, the whole thing. And it is so beautiful. I'm going to hang it all year. And I asked her, like, how much did you buy it for? Because it looks to me like I probably would have spent $60 to buy that. She's like, no, it was like $20, $25. And I'm like, so the lady was making it out of her homes. And so she ended up going to a pop-up where my daughter was at. And she sold so many that day. And she wasn't selling them just out of her house, like on social media. And so she goes to these pop-ups and she sells them. So that gift that I'm going to love forever was like $20, $25. And those are the gifts I feel that are more meaningful, because my daughter knows I love that stuff.
Yeah. And that's definitely how it is. Everyone's getting their hustle on. And
I love that.
Yeah, you got to admire it. And I always say that, like when, me being in Wilmington, I always say that when you go to Avalon, man, you can buy a mattress, you can buy a flannel across the street, you can buy some chanclas, and you can get food out of someoo's apartment window. Like I always say that. But you can do it all within a 1 block radius if you wanted.
And people used to be like, "Oh my God, you're gonna go like buy food from this person's like little backyard alley, pretty much now." But now today, people do that because you go to a big restaurant. What were we saying? The food's not good.
Yeah.
Like you want real good Mexican food. I'm not going to Torrance. I will go to Los Tres. I will go to Pronto's and Pedro. Like you go somewhere good. You want that little mom and pop place. Yeah. You don't want a big fancy restaurant.
There's a nice truck on Avalon and PCH that everybody goes to there.
Avalon and PCH.
Oh, is that right on the? Right
it used to be a muffler shop. It's right across from Banning High School.
Oh, way down there. Yeah. So just a food truck, you mean?
Yeah, it's a food truck in that space.
I'm trying to figure out which one it is.
So there's Taco Bell right there. There's McDonald's right there. There's Banning High School. How do I know more about Weemos than you?
I don't come out of the house, first of all.
Because you're going to get shot.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we got to stop.
Okay, then I'll make my way up the hill to Pedro.
I'm going to get in trouble. I need to stop. All my friends are going to be like, Alina. And I shouldn't even say that. Pedro's gotten bad again. I think in general, both cities, like that whole gang violence thing is coming back up again. It's so sad.
It is.
It disappeared for a few years, and now I feel like it's coming back, and it's sad.
It is. And it's just, I've never really understood that why we're still going at it.
Why Mexicans are against each other?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Nah, I don't.
Like we're here laughing and joking, all jokes aside. Like my grandma's brother, one of the Castanedas, is from Wilmington, and his kids and grandkids and great grandkids, and I love them dearly. They're family. So this is all jokes aside, but I do agree with you. Like I don't understand why we're against each other. I don't care what city you're from. I don't care what side of the street you live on. Like we all should be united, like as a whole.
Just work with each other. I don't understand why there's this constant division. Like, but hey, But
it's life, and it is what it is.
Just got to keep going about it, I guess.
So we're saying goodbye to 2024.
Bye. Adios. Catch you
that's
later.
it.
Don't
End
let
of
the doorknob
podcast.
hit you on the way out.
And I was going through some things of like crazy things that happened in 2024. And I have to bring this one up first because this one's like, I sent it to you last night and I couldn't, like, as a woman, and Solomon's going to die laughing. I couldn't, like, I understand it, but then it took me back to the fight that Solomon and I had on the last podcast about men. Are you ready, Solomon?
Maybe. I don't know. What am I getting ready
Brace
for?
yourself.
Yeah, brace yourself. So somebody brought up to me at work because they were asking like, hey, what's your podcast going to be this week? And I said, oh, I'm bringing Raymond on. We're going to laugh. We're going to talk. We're going to talk about some stuff in 2024. I said, so I'm going through things, right? And so he's like, well, what about the North Korean military? And I'm like, what about the North Korean military? So
I'm trying to hold in my
a
lap.
few years back, like, I obviously missed a lot of class in high school because I had a kid. I was pregnant, right? So I missed a lot of stuff. And then I just went to work. I didn't realize until a few years ago how extreme North Korea was, to the point where they don't have Wi-Fi. They don't have internet. Like the lights go out at a certain time, right? I didn't know all that.
I didn't know that either. It just
And so
it's that bad?
Want to know how I found out?
Go ahead.
So I was bored at home one day and I was watching Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and a Korean drama came on, which, by the way, is all in Korean.
Mhm.
So I had to watch it in subtitles, and I've already watched it twice. By the way, it's a whole season, and it's just as bad as a telenovela. The cheese man, the love, and the it's just. So I told my son, I'm watching this show, and it takes place in South Korea, but also North Korea. Like it's like totally portraying North Korea to be horrible, and da da da. He goes, "Are you serious right now, woman? Like you own a house and have 2 kids. Like how do you not know this?" I was like, "What do you mean, son?" He goes, "Mom, North Korea is bad. They have no internet. The government tells them what to do. The government controls the food. If you look at a map at night at North Korea, it's all black. The lights are turned out at a certain time. So they have nothing." And this is going to lead into the story. And I didn't believe it. So, of course, I went and Googled it. And I was like, oh, my God, it's horrible, right? So apparently, because of the Ukraine and Russian war, North Korea was sent to the border of Russia and Ukraine to fight for Russia. And what's the one thing they have now that they didn't have? They had Wi-Fi. They had the internet. And this is all like this year.
Well, okay.
So what do you think they all went on and did?
Watch porn.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And the New York Post and all these people were writing about it because I Googled all this. And I was like, so if men weren't into women like I said, Solomon, they weren't looking up beautiful women's personalities, hairstyles. They were looking at porn.
Well, at least the lights are off.
Well, no, they were in Russia at this point. So like, but my question is like, when you see that, they're probably mortified and saw things they never saw in their entire life, right? Like they probably all went on there and was like, oh my God, they probably ran back to North Korea like where they're safe. Like
they ran back and turned the lights off.
Yeah.
Like, we ain't home, man.
This is why they don't let us leave the country. When they watched it, they had to be mortified. Like, oh, people do these things? Like, how do you do these things? But how do you go back to North Korea and never see it again or live it or do it or try it? Imagine going home to your wife and saying, babe.
Everybody ran back and there was just that one guy that stood there with his phone connected.
Yeah. And how do you go to war? How do you fight after that?
Right.
Solomon's like, you two are horrible.
Right.
Oh, man.
So that was one thing in 2024 that I thought as we were, and one of the guys at work yesterday brought it. I was in tears laughing, like, oh my God, those poor guys. Like, and obviously I don't think there's women in the military in North Korea. I think it's all men.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very different than us. Sometimes I think we have to, I wish maybe we lived some of those ways. The world wouldn't be as crazy it is.
Not connected to the internet. Can you imagine? If
TikTok.
And no internet. Can you imagine no internet?
How did we live in the
how weird
50s
things
and
would be?
60s and 70s? How did we live? Wow.
How did they, but like I said last week, there was less divorce.
Yeah.
There was, everything was different because now when people had affairs, they were frowned upon, right? right? Now you go on TikTok, I slept with your man, I don't care, and nobody says anything. You know what I mean?
It's normalized.
It is.
It really
and
is.
If they're supposed to ban TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm.
You and I joked about this. Well, you joked about it. I was all
people are like losing it over that, and I always find it funny because it's like what we thought. I mean, what we seen social media as at one point. It was about being social, right? Now it's all about consumption. When you think about it, it's like a game that's being played, and ain't none of us winning.
No, they're winning. No. We're not winning.
No,
they're. I have. So I do go on TikTok for the podcast, but I also go on, and I was going to tell you why I go on. But then you brought it up first. And you're like, these people are following these recipes on TikTok. And I was all, oops. I was like, I'm guilty. And your point, what was your point about that though?
You know, it was just more just like I was just talking out loud. But I think when it becomes to it, like I think we're following too many recipe hacks. And this is the big guy telling you, all right? I think we're following too many recipe hacks. We need to get back to grandma's cookbook for sure. There's too much division and too much animosity, people fighting with each other. I think if we got down back to it and started making a good home cooked meal, people would come together. I mean, for free food, people would come, right?
But a lot of people don't have grandma's recipes. That because people are so separated within their own families, right? Yeah. Nobody comes together anymore. So those recipes aren't being passed down.
I think we can create our own again. There are things that we can do. I mean, there's in the books, there's obviously the internet.
Yeah. Well, I found this recipe for mac and cheese on TikTok, and I was like, for Christmas, and I was like, let me try it. And it was amazing, and the kids loved it. So for me, I wrote it all down. I'm going to keep it. That would be my recipe now, even though I got it on TikTok. Because I don't know if it's a cultural thing, and we didn't eat mac and cheese growing up unless it was in the craft box. We didn't have homemade mac and cheese really. Over the last probably 5 or 6 years, my mom has started making mac and cheese because she has a friend somewhere down south that she has, and they trade recipes. And so my mom has started making mac and cheese. But prior to that, any mac and cheese we had was in a box. It wasn't like homemade good mac and cheese. Mm-hmm. So now my grandson loves mac and cheese. So I was like, let me start looking for a good recipe for him. And I made it, and yes, I got it off TikTok. So if they get rid of TikTok, like they're saying they're supposed to do in 2025.
That's not happening.
You don't think it will?
No, come on. I mean, they always make that argument that like, they're getting our information or whatever, but they already got it. Come on. I mean, people give up their information for convenience all day long, every day. So,
but my question is what information are you giving? Like, who wants little old me? What am I giving up? You're on the phone watching or listening to my drama. You're just listening to me.
Well, if you buy something on TikTok, maybe they get your credit card information or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
And they also get trends on like how you spend, things you buy, stuff like that.
So nothing real, like not spy work or nothing.
I wouldn't think so.
We're not government spies.
I wonder what it is then. I mean, is it truly the information, or what the heck is it that we're getting? I haven't really read into that whole thing. I just heard they're getting rid of it. But yeah, people are losing their shit over that. It's funny.
The one thing I do like about TikTok is, which could also be a bad thing, because you can go on there and say absolutely almost anything, right? Mm-hmm. But you do. Okay, so the Boeing aircraft, the Alaska Airlines, was it the door that flew open in mid-flight, and the kid almost fell out, and the mom was like holding on to the kid for dear life and all that? That was crazy. Until I went to go look at it yesterday, I never heard that the whistleblower about Boeing and all the stuff that's going on with that was found dead.
Disappeared.
Nobody heard about that. It wasn't on the news. I heard about it on TikTok. And people like to say, oh, you're on TikTok. But you hear facts there that you wouldn't hear anywhere else, because they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that the whistleblower was found dead, because then people are going to start to question why.
Why was
and what did he know? And what did he tell that got him, that ended up having him killed, right? Mm-hmm. So those are things that I do like, because I will go down a rabbit hole on TikTok to like 2 a.m. Like if Solomon tells me like, oh, did you hear about the story about this girl? I'll be like, no, but I'll go. I'm just saying as an example. I'll go home and pull it up, and then you just keep going down that rabbit hole. But those are things you don't see on the Channel 5 news.
That is true.
The one thing I will say is, you get every opinion, every point of view on it, because people speculate on their own. Whereas the news just gives you, the one the one thing that they're liably able to give you.
Yes. So me personally, I hope in 2025 we don't get rid of TikTok.
Let's just forget about 2024. 2024 was really rocky. It really was. I think with the price of groceries, the cost of living, everything just went up, and it just felt like you were stuck in this hole, like you could not get out of it.
So with you saying the price of groceries went up, do you think it's cheaper? So we grew up, you don't eat out, right?
Oh yeah,
you eat at home. No, when we were kids.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant now. I'm like,
no. When we grew up, you eat at home, right? You told your mom, like, I'm hungry, go make something, right?
Right.
Is it cheaper today to eat out or to go buy groceries and cook?
Definitely.
I feel like it's the same.
Do you?
I really do feel like it's the same.
And does it depend on the amount of people in the family then? So for me and Seth, because right now he's home from college, my daughter lives with her wife because, they're married, they have their own house. Mm-hmm. For Seth and I, it's cheaper for us to just go get something to eat. Because if I buy food, it goes bad all the time. Yeah. Because I don't eat a lot and he does, but he's even just home from school right now. So for me, I'd rather just go grab a burrito here or something here, something. And not that I don't cook, because I do cook. I have to cook for grandma right now if my mom doesn't cook. But Seth will not eat the food that I make for grandma. It's all the old fashioned like sopa and stuff like that my grandma eat. Okay. And he's like, I'm gonna go get a burrito or I'm gonna go grab In-N-Out. So it's cheaper to go get that stuff for us. So does it depend on the amount of people in the family?
I mean, for us, it's only me, my wife, and my daughter, of course. So we just worry, about what we're gonna get. But I don't know what it is. I guess when I eat out too much, I could get tired of it. I can't do it all week. It's like I want a home cooked meal. There's nothing like a good home cooked meal to kind of, mellow out from the week, because there's a lot of drama out there. And it's like the last thing I want to do at the end of the day is go out to dinner and be with a bunch of people I don't want to be with.
Yeah.
There's too many crazy people out there.
I could live off bean and cheese burritos.
I can too.
I could be happy with bean and cheese burritos.
Now that's a funny thing. So like when I find a good Mexican restaurant, like the first thing I'm going to go for is a bean and cheese burrito. If they can't handle a bean and cheese burrito, forget about it. Like I cannot trust them with anything else. Like
if you can't do that.
Bare basics.
Yeah.
Bare basics. If you can't do that, then.
But even the rice, if you can't cook the rice a certain way, and all rice, I've realized now that everybody has little different techniques, but it could still be good. But if the rice isn't good either, like.
Nah, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah, no.
It ain't going to happen at all.
So you judge the Mexican place's whole menu based on their bean and cheese burrito?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I do that with sushi. I judge it by the spicy tuna.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. If they don't get spicy tuna, that's it.
Is that the basic thing for tuna? For sushi, is the spicy tuna?
I would think so. I mean, if you're getting beyond California roll, yes. But
see, I'm good with the California roll. You
that's
can't
not
go
sushi.
wrong with that.
That's not sushi.
See, when things get too complex, like we're talking about stuff that's on like on the menu. If it's a complex thing, like if they do all this and they can't handle the bare basics, I can't trust them with everything else.
Yeah.
So there's been a few places that I've been to, and I'll look at my wife, I'm like, that ain't it.
Do you prefer pozole or menudo?
Both.
Really?
I think both. It's fair game.
No.
Both.
I'm a menudo girl.
Maybe pozole a little bit more.
I
like pozole a little bit more. Yeah, I think it's pozole a little bit more.
Huh.
I'm hungry just sitting here.
So, and it's funny because I was in Mexico one summer and I was young, probably like 8 or 9. And I woke up in the morning. I knew we were having a party the next day for my grandma's birthday. So about a week before we would come home every year, my grandpa would have a big party for my grandma's birthday. So I knew that's when we were going to come home soon because the party was happening, right? Mm-hmm. So I woke up one morning to the most god-awful sound of a pig being killed. They stuck a stick down his throat and basically choked him to death, right? And I didn't know why. So when I actually finally woke up, went in the kitchen on this big, huge table my grandma had, there's just a pig spread open. Like, they did it all themselves. And I almost threw up.
Oh, wow.
And I ran outside, didn't want to look at it. So later that night, when the banda's there and everyone's eating and I'm eating my menudo, she's like, how is that, mija? And I was like, it's great. She's like, yeah, that was the pig that was on the table. And I was like, I don't care. I kept eating.
That would be my thing.
I'm a menudo girl, total menudo girl.
I mean, that would be my thing. If the pig was on the table, I would still eat regardless. I'm like, I don't think nothing's going to change the fact. I'm going to be honest. I've been to a couple slaughterhouses and
really,
you smell all that. No, it doesn't change anything. I'm still gonna eat.
Well, I'm a meat girl, so yeah.
Yeah, I think as long as I don't see everything in action, like I kind of know what happened.
Yeah.
But as long as I don't see it like in action or anything.
Oh, as soon as I was going in the kitchen,
I'm okay.
As soon as I was going in the kitchen, I was like turn around real fast. Like, I don't want to know what that is.
Where's the peaky at?
Yeah. So that's why I asked, because usually people are one or the other. It's very rare that people are the same.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your favorite Mexican place to eat in Wilmington? Yes, I'm putting you under
under contract, I have to say Los Tres. No, everyone has their own different way of doing it. I mean, personally, because I grew up on the east side, I love going to Montoya's. Montoya's is my favorite place to go to because that's home. That's home for me, even as far back as, when I was a little kid, my grandma would send me with $10 to, Montoya's, go get a couple burritos. And we would go back and, now that she's gone, like I really do. It's just those little things that you go back to. Yeah. So I think, it just depends. Yeah. I don't like to say anyone's better than anybody else. I think everyone just cooks differently.
I think everybody does cook differently.
Yeah. Everyone does make things.
It does. But it doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that they're different,
Nobody's right. Nobody's wrong. Everyone does things differently.
Yeah. So with us leaving 2024, and we talked about the one funny subject, we're going down. The one thing I do want to touch on real quick is the Cat Williams thing. And Solomon, you could laugh at is he crazy or was he truthful? But we thought he was crazy because nothing was coming out yet.
No, I don't think he was crazy. I think when he said it, it was a little bit of a shock. Everything, and I mean, I'm not going to get into.
I'm surprised he's not been found dead somewhere.
No, he was telling the truth in the beginning.
Well, yeah, but
I don't know what it was. But
out.
when I watched that interview, I had to watch in like different parts though, because again, I have ADHD and it's hard for me to focus just on one thing. So I'll watch it. It was like 2 hours. That interview was. Man, it took me like a week to watch it, but after I watched everything and I figured it out, I realized that he was telling the truth since the beginning.
But do you think the truth scares people, and that's why they were all saying he's crazy?
Yeah, the truth hurts.
And everybody, after that interview, even, please forgive me, what is his name, Solomon? The interview guy,
Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp. Even he was thrown back during the interview. And even afterwards, he said he wished he would have started recording the minute Cat Williams walked in because he had already started going. But he even made it sound like, he's a little off his rocker, right? But then everything started happening, and then Diddy got arrested, and all this stuff came out.
All that came about. And it was like once you started to see things kind of downfall and people starting to, be named and stuff like that. Now this whole thing with Jay-Z, I said that right when he got in trouble, when that whole thing happened, I told my wife right after, I go, Jay-Z's next. I don't know why I have this weird feeling, but I feel like he was.
Do you think they'll actually go after him? I feel like he has too much money. And
no, Diddy had too much money too.
I was just gonna say that Diddy had a lot of money.
I'm not a fan of Jay-Z or Beyonce at all.
Me either.
I feel like there's some demons going on over there.
They just rub me the wrong way. Yes. Like just their persona, their energy. Like there is just something there
that's not right.
That does not feel right.
I agree.
It's just that it's that intuition. Like how when you look at a person and you can tell right away, like I can talk to this person or not, or I need to stay away from this person. They are definitely on that list. Like I don't think I would ever.
Do you think that comes from, because we've talked about how the faith that you were raised on and the faith, do you think that a little bit that comes from our intuition, as you said, within our beliefs? Like we have the power of Jesus in us. And so we know that ain't right over there.
Yeah.
I'm staying way over here on this side of the road because something ain't right over there.
Yeah. So, and I like to believe that when we're talking about people in general, I like to think that that's our guardian angels telling us that, like kind of like, hey, stay away. I always feel like there's something telling me, don't go over there, don't do this or don't do that. Or when it's something positive, like it's like keep going for it. Yeah. You'll always have that little sense of help along the way.
Yes. Sure. So I was never a Jay-Z fan. When Beyonce first came out with Destiny's Child, I was a fan. I did like Destiny's Child, right? This is in the beginning. But when Beyonce went on her own, I kind of wasn't. And then in the elevator with her sister, and remember that, Solomon?
Yeah.
So that would be my little sister. So my sister, which a lot of people don't realize, is younger than me. She's my baby sister. She's 3 years younger, but she's the feisty one. She is the Beyonce's little sister. So when the little sister whooped Jay-Z's ass, like I probably would have jumped in. This difference between Beyonce and I wouldn't have just let my sister do it. Like that's when I really disliked Beyonce and her husband, because your sister stood up for you because she knew you were dirty and wrong. And you just sat there and let her. Like that's no. After that, I really was like, I'm done.
Look, I'll be honest. I'm a music guy. All right. Her first album was great, but everything after that was just like, I don't care.
And all the stuff she's doing now, I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, it just felt repetitive. And there's just like a lot of that, I think, in the music industry from my viewpoint. Because, like I said, music is my thing. But I've noticed that everything just kind of seems repetitive.
Yeah.
It just seems repetitive.
I just wonder if, and you're right, Solomon, like Diddy did have a lot of money. I
didn't hear anything you said after "you're right, Solomon." I don't think I've ever heard that come out of your mouth.
Girl, can you say it again? The speakers weren't working.
Yeah,
slow that down real quick. Say it again one more time.
I got it recorded.
From the top.
Diddy did have a lot of money. But I will be, but again, I was even shocked that they went after Diddy. So I'll be shocked that they go after Jay-Z.
I think they will.
And so I think Cat Williams, everything he was saying, like, it's not that I don't have secrets. Everybody has a secret somewhere, right? Like, but I don't like secrets. And we've talked about it on the show. Like, I don't like them. I think that everything should be just out in the open. Like, there's an incident that happened at work with somebody, and two of my buddies were like, well, we heard this. I said, just call the guy and ask him. They're like, no. I was like, why not? He's our friend. Let's check on him and make sure he's okay. And they were so nervous. Like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, go to the horse's mouth. Ask him. Just be open. The worst he's going to tell you is like, no, I'm not okay. And thank God you guys called. Or no, I'm fine. It just got taken out of proportion. Like, not a big deal. Like, but thanks for checking in. Right. So when Cat Williams came out and said it, I was like, I like that. Just throw it all out there. Everybody has to own their shit.
The point.
Yeah.
Straight to the
point. I loved that. But everybody was like, oh my God, he's crazy. And then there's some people that are like, pray for this man. He's going to end up dead. And I was like, he probably will.
Well, nothing's happened yet. But I think you're right. Like when there's a lot of things out in the open, like or something about somebody, I'm just very blunt about it. I'm like, hey, fool, let me ask you something real quick.
Well, that's me. I'm like, I just want to know. So
hey, dog, did it happen?
Yeah.
Just asking. I mean, I'm not going to say nothing.
You're all, what? Everyone's like, look at you, Metiche. I was like, no, I'd rather just know than sit here. It drives me crazy. Like, I just want to know. So I have one cousin, and we don't talk all the time, and she's going to know who she is. So I will text her and be like, girl. She'll be like, yes or no. Or she'll text me. She's like, girl, did you see this? Did you see that? Like, we're very much like facts. Mm-hmm. And we will go down someone's Facebook, someone's Instagram, and put it all together. She's like, we need to know. Like, I'm like, well, I heard this or I saw this, but we don't like to hear the hearsay. We want to know like the facts. Exactly. So she listens to this. So her and I am always, and we don't talk again all the time, but she is my go-to and I'm her go-to where we're trying to fact check stuff all the time.
So did I get fact checked before I came in here?
No,
hey, man, this guy's got some recipes on here.
But I saw the mutual friend that we had. So I was like, I'm going to surprise him. I'm not going to, the fact that you're from Limas and you're on here, I'm going to be like.
Whatever. Y'all going to come to Montoya's or something. One way or another, y'all come down the hill. There's life beyond the Vincent Thomas. Vincent Thomas is closed, isn't it? Or is it going to be closed?
So, okay, let's talk about the bridge thing since you brought up the Vincent Thomas.
Yeah.
So, you know how we were crying and complaining that the Vincent Thomas Bridge might get shut down and everything?
Yeah.
So, the Baltimore Bridge crashed. Oh, well, didn't crash it. I guess it did
crashed into it.
Yeah, the ship crashed into it, which I still think, which of course people are like, conspiracy theory. I feel like that was set up. The Santa Cruz Pier collapsed, like all these things, right? So, Elon Musk is now talking about bringing some engineers from India because America apparently doesn't have smart people. We have more blue collar workers than we do white collar workers. And let's bring some people from India, right? That are engineers. Well, homie, I was all upset about our little Vincent Thomas Bridge closing. So I went to go Google all of it yesterday. Do you know that 12 bridges in 17 days collapsed in, you want to put it on, Solomon?
Oh, the video? Let's see here.
A single bridge collapse is worrisome, but when 12 bridges crumble within 17 days in just one state, then that's a full-blown crisis.
Another day, another bridge collapse. This is the story of Bihar.
Beginning in June 2024, a dozen bridges gave way in the state of Bihar, India, with multiple sometimes happening on the same day.
These concrete lifelines seem to be collapsing one after another at a pretty alarming rate.
The timing coincided with the onset of monsoon season, cutting off communication between villages and disrupting access to schools and hospitals, which left many communities stranded.
And so I went into Google it some more, and they're blaming it on the engineers, and they're blaming it on the parts to build the bridge were not good and all that stuff. And I'm like, so you're now announcing that in 2025 you're going to bring a bunch of people from India that are engineers to better our country? And that's what I was like, wait. So I felt bad, oh my God, I'm crying about our little Vincent Thomas Bridge being closed for a year. And these people, you saw the destruction. It made me, I will say this, it made me appreciate it more. And I'm like, you know what? I could drive through Emas now to get to work if I have to every day.
And y'all ain't gonna go nowhere if the Vincent Thomas Bridge is closed. We just got through with that one.
Oh yeah, they're gonna close it for a year.
Yeah. And that means
so literally
that means we're gonna get all the traffic.
You are it's gonna come all that way around because people don't realize there's no other way to go around. We're at the end of the ocean. Yeah. So we drive that way, we go into the ocean. Or we gotta go. If you want to go into Long Beach, you can take the 110 freeway to the 405, but that goes all the way around.
All the way around.
Yeah, so you just take the little side streets or the 110 right into Wilmington, and then that's quicker and faster. You guys are and right in that area, you guys have a lot of truckers, so there's nails. The streets are bad. I'm are they gonna fix all that before?
And if I can count how many nails we've had in the tire this past past year, going down Anaheim or Alameda,
yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I live right by there, and let me tell you, there's so much debris everywhere.
You know what's funny about that street, Anaheim? Now that's going to happen with the Vincent Thomas Bridge, they've opened up all the little strip clubs back up and over.
No, they didn't. Did they really?
Yeah.
They must have just got Wi-Fi.
They anticipate.
Hey, there's 10 North Korean guys in front of it. They're like, "What's up, bro?"
Now I'm gonna go drive by and look and be like, oh, they did. When I was in 1997, when I was a casual, there was a lot of those strip bars, and I was so mortified. Oh my gosh, those are. Do you remember the one right on the corner? Oh, you were young though. It's right where Harry Bridges, where you pass the police station, and you're trying to go into Wilmington. There was a strip bar right on the corner, right across from the freeway.
I don't know if any strip clubs. I'm married.
Oh.
I can't say that. On behalf of my constitutional right, I invoke the fifth. No, but I think I do kind of remember.
There was so many of them back then, and I was just like, oh my God. But I was of course, I was mortified. I was so young. I was like, who goes to those places? Found out a lot of people.
North Koreans?
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least there's a gas station now that's on the corner where the big hall is, right on Anaheim and Alameda.
Yeah.
There's that gas station, which is really, and there's a little hamburger place right there.
Jim's, right?
I don't know the name
I think
of
it's
it,
called Jim's.
but it's good.
I've never been there.
I went there one night on my lunch break with some girlfriend. I was like, this is better than Tommy's.
You're always going to find the best burger in the holes, in the weirdest places.
Yes.
And the little holes in the wall are going to be the best places all times.
Well, a lot of those places will get more business too with us having to go around.
When I find a good place to eat, like a burger joint, burrito joint, sushi joint for that matter, whenever I find a good place, I don't say shit. I'm not going to lie. I don't say nothing. I mean, I know it's people take to social media right away and they start saying, hey, come here, come there. I'm like, hell nah, because if I do that and the lines are going to be wrapped around the corner, I don't feel like waiting. Shoot.
No way.
I ain't saying shit.
Do you have any goals for 2025?
Don't go broke again.
Don't go broke again.
Don't get broke. Don't get broke. No. For 2025, I just want to really invoke that positive energy. I took a lot this past year. There was a lot, like I said, a lot with the financial aspect of everything and trying to get things back on track with us. But as far as the comedy goes, I was doing all this extra homework. I took comedy classes and I was doing a lot of homework. I was watching a lot of different videos and trying to get an idea of what I was working with. I started writing my own material. So I literally have this book at home that's just a bunch of different ideas that I come up with. And I really want to put that to work. next
So we
year.
didn't say this in the beginning, but you have a full-time job, and your full-time job is
Audiology technician.
And when you text that, I went on Google because I had no idea what it was, and I didn't want to look
Most people
stupid
don't.
when I asked you what is that.
Most people don't. I tell people, I think I took an Uber one time to work, and the guy's like, "What do you do for work?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm an audiology technician." He goes, "Oh, yeah, I had a problem with my foot last week." I'm like, "Bro." Whatever, dog.
So what is an wait, what did you say?
Audiology technician.
Okay, that thing.
That is a fancy term for I clean hearing aids, program them, repair them, and do all the fun stuff that the doctors do not want to do, including dealing with the crazy patients.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure some of them will see this video and be like, "Hey."
You're one of them. So that is your full-time job that pays the bills.
Oh, yeah.
What is your side work?
What is my side work?
Not your side piece, your side work.
Hey, don't try and get me in trouble.
I know your wife's going to
I got to go home. I got to go home. I don't want to be in trouble when I get home. Like, you were talking about strip joint side piece. I ain't got no side piece.
Your wife's like, "Babe, I didn't bring that up." She
brought that up. Shoot, it's on camera. Anyway. No, but I think, my side thing is just focusing on family, honestly. Focusing on family and really taking the time to kind of take everything in and figuring out how to keep building, because that's very important to me right now. This whole comedy thing, honestly, I don't care where it goes. I don't care about the money, the fame, the fortune. I don't care about none of that. What I care about is the the well-being of my family, and telling my story. I honestly don't consider myself a comedian. I'll be honest.
Really?
I don't really consider myself. I just tell things how they are. I mean, people see me as a comedian. Yeah, it looks like it, but I think I enjoy a good conversation. I just tell things like they are. I mean, if you look like hell, I'm going to tell you. I just say it like it is, not like it was.
Best policy.
I've noticed that too. As I'm getting older, I'm starting to just be more blunt. There is no filter, and I hate that sometimes. Because
I miss that though. It used to be like that growing up, but today you have to be so politically correct. Everybody gets offended. You can't say anything. You have to watch everything you say. But I just feel like that creates sissies. Like you have to have thick skin. Like if I think that every kid should be told at some point in life that they're ugly. I think that every kid at some point should be typed in life that that's not how you act. You're not a good person right now. Like that's how kids learn to adjust through life. And people were like, "Oh, some girl in second grade told me I was ugly." Well, we all go through an ugly phase. I don't care unless you're like freaking Brooke Shields, who was probably never ugly, but that's why she is who she is, right? Like everybody goes through an ugly phase. Your kids go through ugly phases. They have their teeth are messed up. Like, so if you're told in school that you look like a jack-o'-lantern, like you look like a jack-o'-lantern, but you can't say that anymore because that hurts their feelings.
Who cares? I mean, like you said, people got to have tough skin again. Like, just say things how they were. That's the problem, is that we're not just talking like normal human beings.
No.
And you see that a lot with the younger generation too.
Yeah.
That's coming up. I think I'm getting old now that I'm starting to say that, damn it. But you see that a lot with the younger generation. Do you notice that when you talk to them, they don't look at you? They don't look at you straight in the eye when they talk. They're looking down because their generation was brought up to text to talk about this.
Well, people don't, even adults nowadays would rather text you a whole conversation than have a conversation on the phone.
Yeah.
They'll tell you people will fight, married couples, dating couples will fight via text and not face to face. You can't hear the sincerity. You can't hear the hurt in the person's voice. You can't feel it through a text message.
No, you can't.
To me, that's like fake.
You have to have that open communication, especially in a marriage. You got to have that open communication. I think my analogy is that if she brings you a cup of coffee in the morning, you take her one in the afternoon. It is a 50-50. That's my thing. It is a 50-50.
We need to have him on with Tom. We need him and Tom would go back and forth because Tom's like, absolutely not.
No.
Do you think that some days, though, it's an
50-50.
80-20 and some days it's a 70-30 and some days it's a 50-50?
And
I ask because I'm not married, so I don't know.
You know what? No, some days it does fluctuate, but I think you have to be there. You have to be able to support each other throughout that whole thing. And like you said, keep that open communication. The text messaging and all that can only go so far.
Oh yeah, that's
human emotion. I mean, come on, it's like, let's have a conversation. Like, why are we going back and forth on a text message? I'll be honest, when I get home, my phone, I don't even look at it.
Aww.
I take about maybe 2-3 hours and just kind of sit back, like I said, taking everything Hey,
But
babe,
you also have your 7-year-old. So
Yeah.
that's why the phone's gone, I feel like, too, because you have to be with her. You have
Yeah.
to be completely focused with her.
I have to be. Oh, she's all over the place. Ugh.
What grade is she in?
She is in. What are we going on? Second grade.
So where does she go to school?
Right by my house. Not that far. Not
Okay.
that far away.
Okay. And she has autism.
Yeah.
And
She
how
does.
do you handle that?
How do we handle that? I have, like I said, I have ADHD, but I have family on my biological father's side of the family.
Look at all that hair she has.
Yeah, she gets that from her mama.
Oh my God, she's so cute. Look at her.
Oh man, she's a little bundle of energy. And she's just like very blunt. And there's some things.
Oh, I wonder where she gets that from.
I don't know. No, there's some things that she's like, I'll be honest. The cursing is the hard part right now, okay?
So does she curse?
Oh my God. Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you. So I put the safety lock, the parental lock on her YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I made sure everything was on there so no crazy content would come up.
Yeah.
Because she's like a parrot right now. She repeats everything that
Yeah.
she hears. Well, this kid deleted the app, reinstalled it, and was able to start looking up videos. I'm like, what the heck?
She's super intelligent.
So yeah, I was having a meeting with somebody from her school, and they're like, did she watch Deadpool and Wolverine by any chance? And I'm like, maybe. Why? Because we were sitting, and she was doing her schoolwork, and then she just Wolverine says bitch. She just went back to work, and I'm like, funny story. and I didn't know how to deal with that situation. I'm still learning with these things as time goes on. But like I said, I have family that has, kids with there's some of my nephews and nieces that have autism. So I'm learning as time goes on. See, growing up, when I had ADHD, so it was very hard for me to focus, and I was very talkative. I was very rambunctious. The only difference is now is that I'm using that talkativeness to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
But there are days where it's just very foggy, and I can't focus. I don't do medication. I don't feel like.
Do you think it's ADHD, or do you think that it's our era in life has changed so much? So like a kid like you back in the 1800s, whose mind is just rambunctious. I like that you said that. You would have been outside gathering berries and wood, and you would have been doing stuff where your mind is just going, going, going. Now it's sit down, sit in an office job, look at your phone. Like they've kind of pushed us to be like this child that just sits like this. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, now I look back and I wish I would have homeschooled my son instead of making him sit in a classroom and behave. And I remember getting in an argument with the teacher like in first or second grade. She's like, well, your son. I said, no, my son's not a bad kid. He just shouldn't be sitting in a classroom all day long. He's a very good kid. And he's a very smart kid. And I wish at that point I would have yanked him out and homeschooled him, because I don't know if I believe in necessarily the word ADHD, or we're not supposed to be doing what we're doing today. That's not how God invented us. We're not supposed to be sitting in front of a computer all day or sitting in front of a phone all day. We should be outside exploring more. So that's why I asked, is it really ADHD, or is it just we're not living the life we're supposed to be living?
I think what it is that there is too much going on. I'll speak from my point of view. When there's too much going on, like for instance, if I'm cleaning the kitchen, I'll start putting the knives and the forks away. It's like, oh shit, I left the sink on. And then it's like, oh, I got to take this out of the fridge. It's like, oh, my phone's ringing. It's like so many things are going on. It's just hard to focus on one thing throughout the day. But what I have found for me, just myself, what I have found is that meditation does work a lot. I prefer meditation over medication.
I love you for that.
I prefer meditation over medication, and just drowning out everything, headphones on, and just listening to music, and just trying to focus. Who learned me how to spoke?
Trying to relax.
Trying to focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And just trying to go about it, and as I see my daughter starting to grow up, I start to see a lot of the same things that like with her being humorous or her taking an interest in music. Put it this way, Let It Be by the Beatles. She can name some of the songs that are on there, and not just that, they're hard songs. They're songs that like Across the Universe.
Yeah.
Those are songs that not too many kids know,
but
she remembers it. And I'm like, I don't know where she gets that from.
Kind of a little bit of Rain Man.
But it's so funny because when she does get like angry or she does get upset with whatever it may be, it's funny because my wife will have to tell her like, hey, calm down. Like they'll go at it back and forth. And there's nothing funnier than watching my wife argue with somebody that has the same attitude as she does. And they go back and forth at it. And it's funny to watch the two of them because that's my face telling you what to do while I'm sitting on the sideline like, that's what you get. That's
funny.
Like that's what you get.
Yep, I see. No, I see that.
Yeah, that's I love hilarious. That little girl. Like there's just so much about her that it just reminds me of myself, and that makes everything worse.
Are you more empathetic towards her because you see it and you understand it now? Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? The world is cruel. I see it.
Oh yeah.
When we go out, like, and she'll, kind of be moving all over the place, and people are very judgmental out there.
I think in that sense they are. But I also think it's gotten better because 20 years ago, people didn't take their autistic kids outside. People didn't. They kind of remember you hid everything in the house, like you didn't want him to see. And when you did go out, people would not be considerate or not. Today, more times people will say, well, we don't know what's wrong. Maybe, the kid's this or maybe that. There still are mean people. Mm-hmm. But I also think with TikTok, with social media, we're more aware of autistic kids. Like now for Halloween, you guys have a certain color. Is it blue? It's it's a certain. So if they have a Halloween basket, mm-hmm. I think it's not orange like a normal one. I think it's like blue, and that's the autistic. It tells the people like, "Hey, my kid's autistic." So when they come to the door, be more considerate.
Yeah, because there is more severe cases out there, and I've seen it. Like I've tried to understand it as much because I'm still new to understanding. How the autism works. Like I know how the ADHD works, but I'm trying to figure out what are the trigger points? What do I have to do to calm her down? Like there's certain days where she's just all over the place. She's overstimulated. She can't focus just on one thing. And it's bad enough I can't focus on one thing. So we're both trying to focus on each other. Like, what is going on? So it's like hers conflicts with mine sometimes. I'm like, what are we doing? Yeah.
Well,
squirrel.
Time is coming up. Solomon, real quick before we end this, and we need to come. We have so many topics we got to come back on.
I'll be back.
What is one thing you want to do different in 2025?
You're asking what is it one thing I want to do in 2025?
What's one thing different or one thing you want to do that you didn't do in 2024?
The biggest thing for me is goal setting. I'm not really good at setting like hard goals. Mm-hmm. I'm more like a worker bee, right? So I'll think of something I want to do. I'll build it, create it, make it work, integrate it, make it perfect, and then we'll just see what comes from there. So it's sort of like building from the ground up, but I need to start getting to the point where I can sort of set long-term goals out there and then sort of, build toward them. And that's not something I've ever really been that great at. So that's what I'm going to work on this year. I'm going to try to set some concrete goals and see where I go from there.
Got it.
Yeah, I totally understand that because I'm a perfectionist that's why I took this whole year to really figure out how to write a dialogue, how to put things together, how to write the comedic material. Like what sounds funny, what doesn't sound funny. My wife doesn't think I'm funny, but whatever.
I think you're funny.
When I told her I was going to do a podcast, she was like, bye.
She's like, get out of the house.
No, she didn't do it like that. I think I didn't tell anybody that I was going to do this because I didn't want anybody's input. Because that's the worst thing I can do. And I've noticed that is like when I tell people, hey, does it sound funny? Or like I'm trying to run a joke by them. Yeah. And they're like, well, you need to change this. You need to change that. I'm like, you know what? No. Forget about it. I'm not telling nobody.
Just let it be what you've already created.
Because everyone has different outputs,
Yeah.
If it resonates with you, it resonates with you. If not, well,
Well, thank you very much for coming, Raymond. Thank you, Solomon. This will come out the day after 2024 is gone. So it'll come out on January 1st, right? On New Year's.
Well, 2nd.
No, January 2nd. January 2nd. Yeah. So happy New Year's, everybody. I hope everybody has a great one. Everybody is safe. Thank you so much, Solomon. You have TikTok and Instagram.
I sure do.
Please follow him. Solomon will post that. Please subscribe on my YouTube. If you guys watch this, please subscribe. It helps so much. I love the views, and I'm close to getting to 1,000 subscribers. I'm like 940, I think. So please very, very much hit subscribe. Thank you for the views. I have TikTok. I have Instagram. Until next year. Thank you. Bye.